Alabama's junior U.S. Senator Luther Strange is on board with the actions of Mr. Trump. Here's what he had to say. Shelby admitted that all of this controversy, all of the allegations of sexual misconduct surrounding Moore is, in his words, not a good situation. That may be the understatement of the year. But this indeed is a first for the state of Alabama. I've covered governors in this state all the way back to George Wallace, and I've never seen anything like this. Representative Henry joins me right now. First of all, what are you hearing at this point? We are hearing resignation at 5:05. During a visit to Birmingham today, reporters, though, asked for some straight answers about who accompanied the governor on the state plane and why. Nightlife, that's a new word we need to think about when it comes to Anniston, because right now, nightlife in Anniston could have a new restriction put on it. We're looking at it right now. This is one of the employees turned around and shot this.
That's scary.
That's scary. Please go to safety. Make sure you're in a safe place first if you see this. But this is coming from them. You can imagine what they were under. There are several buildings attached to this tire tech business. They scrambled. All 35 of their employees are just fine. Literally just moments ago, the 100-plus page report was finally released. Earlier this afternoon, Bentley's lawyers had been in court fighting for a temporary restraining order. The goal had been to try to halt the release of the general counsel's report to the House Impeachment Committee. That would have in turn delayed Monday's impeachment proceedings. ABC 3340's political reporter Lauren Walsh joins us right now. Lauren, I know all day we have been waiting for this report. It's been kind of in and out of courts and two different judges' courts this afternoon. But there was new information that came out from the House today.
You quizzed the governor pretty hard this afternoon. What did he have to say?
Well, I can tell you that the governor remained cool, calm, and collected through the entire interview today. And in fact, he told me that he has every intention of doing what he believes God has called him to do, to serve the people of the state. He continues to insist that he has done nothing wrong and that he has every intention of finishing out his term. Some state lawmakers on the House Impeachment Committee have said they anticipate the governor resigning before an trial or an impeachment trial could move forward. Listen to the governor's response.
Pam, you were there trying to get some answers out of the governor.
And I told the governor, actually, Dave, that he needed to answer some of these questions concerning his future and the investigation hanging over him. He responded to everything I asked.
There are no true legitimate charges against us. Never have been.
A defiant governor saying that he has no problem with the fact that the Alabama Ethics Commission report on him and his former political advisor, Rebecca Caldwell Mason, is expected April 5th. Now, some members of the House Impeachment Committee have said already if that report is negative, it could speed up impeachment proceedings. The governor said he will tell his side of the story if and when he needs to. I asked the governor, however, with all of this hanging over him, if he had become a lame duck.
No, I really don't. Let me say this. We're going to get the prison issue finished. We're going to build prisons in this state. I'm going to do everything I can to get quality health. I have no intention of not doing what God called me to do, and that's to serve the people of this state.
Governor Bentley said there is no proof of anything against him because there is nothing. The legislature goes back into session April 4th. The Ethics Commission is expected to meet again April 5th. ABC 3340, of course, will be following any new developments in this case, which could be the first time a governor of the state of Alabama would face an impeachment trial in the Senate. Right now, we are standing in front of the Capitol steps here, where the other day the governor came down and announced that he intended to fight this, that he did not intend to resign. We now are hearing that at 5:05 this afternoon, he will indeed submit the resignation. And then at 6 o'clock, Lieutenant Governor Kay Ivey will be sworn in as Alabama's governor. As you mentioned just a moment ago, we have confirmed that the governor is at the Montgomery County Jail at this point. We understand that the negotiations are such that he has now agreed to a lesser charge, a misdemeanor. Again, remembering that he was charged or had probable cause for 4 different felony counts. So part of the negotiation today was to get that down to a misdemeanor, which would mean no jail time most likely, and instead would mean a fine and restitution. This is supposed to all happen. We have all been waiting here. There's probably 100 members of the media right here now. We have been waiting here since 3:15. Our initial call was that it was going to be at 3:30. That has not yet happened. But a man who has stood by his promise to be with us today, Secretary of State John Merrill, is here. You and I talked just a moment ago. This is a sad day for our state, a first also.
Pam, it's a very sad day for Alabama.
Right now, as if we still have the picture up from the Montgomery County Jail, that is where we believe that the governor either is or has just left. And that is, of course, where we have Lauren Walsh, our political reporter, who has been there staking that out this afternoon, because we do know that even though he is now going to plead to a misdemeanor, he still would have to turn himself in and go through the processing. Republicans rule in this state right now. What is this going to do to the Republican Party, even when you had the steering committee of the Alabama GOP saying, Governor, resign?
Right. I don't think it hurts us at all.
We are now being told to move to the old House chamber in 15 minutes. So that is where we're headed, folks. We will see you again in about 15 minutes' time. Okay, guys, since we last talked outside the Capitol steps, we have now moved into the old House chamber inside the Capitol. If my photographer, Bill Castle, can pan over here, you will see that the governor's staff has been assembled, his cabinet has been assembled, and they are there. We are informed that obviously the governor is coming in here in just a few moments to make the announcement that all of us have been talking about, and that is that he is indeed resigning as the governor of the state of Alabama. That is where we stand right now. It was a mad dash to get everybody inside here. We climbed up a couple of flights of stairs and we're now ready. Do know, however, that it is a misdemeanor charge, and that's the important part of all of this. The governor will not be going to prison. He will not spend a night in jail. This is something, but he does have a mugshot, and this is something that that he had to work on today. That's what his attorneys were working on. Even as the hearing began, the impeachment hearing began, all of this was in the works behind the scene. All of this was happening to make this come to fruition at some point today. And again, he is at the Montgomery County Courthouse right now. Unless he's left within the past couple of minutes, he has been before Judge Poole, and this is what had to happen. So our political reporter Lauren Walsh has been like a tracking dog on him this afternoon down at the courthouse, and we are there, and that's what we know at this point. If you noticed, he never said the word that he had resigned. He never talked about, other than the fact that he had made some issues, he never really came out and said, that was what hit me. I am resigning because I was wrong. He said that he had done some things that were not good, and that he had perhaps disappointed the people of Alabama, but he never came out and said, I did this wrong. Again, of course, that changed just a few moments before that when he was in a courtroom and admitted to 2 misdemeanors and pleaded guilty to that. Governor Bentley saying, I'm not finished with the state yet. Governor Bentley saying, I'm going to find another way to serve, perhaps even stronger than this way. That should be taking place here momentarily. We do know that Kay Ivey is in the House, and I believe she is walking in right now. She says, again, as you just mentioned, a dark day, but also a new beginning for the state of Alabama. Kay Ivey, now the 54th governor of the great state of Alabama, ready to take the helm, ready to do what needs to be done. She walked in smiling. She walked out smiling. She walked out with a great stature about her, if you will. She stood tall. She was ready, and she wanted to convey that to the people in this room and the people hearing her now on television across the state. She wanted them to know that she is ready to lead. Right now, we are awaiting what is being called a news conference by the Roy Moore campaign. Let me take you to where we are. This is the Alabama Republican Party headquarters. It is located on Lorna Road in Hoover. As you can see, obviously the microphones are there, reporters are there. What we are waiting for is this. We expect to hear from Birmingham attorney Philip Juregi, who is going to be speaking on recent allegations against Judge Moore. He is Judge Moore's attorney. We do not know if Roy Moore is even going to be there. We are assuming, since he is not the one speaking, that he will not be. But obviously, we are going to take this just as quickly as someone steps to the microphones to speak. We have been listening now to Bill Armistead, who is the head of the Roy Moore campaign right now, and Roy Moore's personal attorney, Philip Juregi, who has known him, as he said, for more than 24 years, challenging Beverly Nelson and Gloria Allred as to what they came forward with the other day, challenging them, Christopher, as I heard it, on about 3 points. Number one, that Beverly Nelson said she had never had any other contact with the judge, and he said that is incorrect, that in 1999 he was actually the judge in Etowah County who signed the divorce papers for
Beverly Nelson when she was divorcing her then husband. Also, they are very concerned about what is written in that yearbook, that 1977 yearbook, wanting to say, telling the media to look at the numbers, to look at the name, to see, draw some conclusions of their own, but they want to bring in a handwriting expert. Lauren, it's quite interesting, though, from listening to those two men this afternoon. I mentioned to Chris here a moment ago, the Moore campaign has nothing to lose right now, so it is gloves off, and we're going to go at you, because basically the Republican Party, at least nationally, has turned away from Roy Moore. ABC 3340's political reporter Lauren Walsh sat through what could be described as a church service this afternoon. Pastor after pastor after pastor came to the microphone, quoted scripture, prayed, thanked Roy Moore for his stand. Now, Lauren joins us right now. Actually, Lauren Moore made a whole lot of people laugh when he said that he had united Democrats and Republicans in the fight against him. But right now, there is at least one poll being done in this state that's pushing out the names of two other Republicans, potential write-in candidates. I know that for a fact because my household received a call from the poll Wednesday night. Lauren, let's go back to what happened this afternoon at this event held for Roy Moore. After the event with Moore and his supporters, we know that there was a heated exchange in the hallway. We have seen part of that exchange. Tell us what happened, though. Lauren, I think it is important as journalists here that we explain one thing. It is quite different to when you hold a news conference, people expect to answer questions. And those questions are not told in advance. They come as reporters ask them. We have people on our Facebook page right now saying they don't like our coverage of this because Moore has answered questions. The difference is that Roy Moore has come up and made statements, but he has not taken questions. You cover this every day. Would you agree with me on that? Joining us now is political scientist Dr. Natalie Davis. Dr. Davis, this woman this afternoon, Beverly Young Nelson, seemed to have a whole lot of details, right down to the fact that she says Roy Moore was wearing brown hush puppy shoes on the night that this happened. Does her coming forward change everything or change anything?
I think that I would think it adds to a story.
We've been hearing a lot about the Senate Judiciary Committee. We've been hearing that the Senate may not even decide to seat Roy Moore should he win. If that were to be the case, then the governor would get to appoint someone. Would she go with Luther Strange, now the senator? Would she go with some other name?
Yeah, well, there's another name that's floating around,
Sessions?
Jeff Sessions.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And all of a sudden, the game changes, doesn't it?
You mentioned robocalls. Donald Trump did it this time. Barack Obama did it this time. So what are you telling me? Cam, you've been saying all evening this doesn't matter anymore.
Robocalls drive out the base.
Just put those numbers up there again. This is truly fascinating. We have watched this, and look what few votes. So those write-in votes, gentlemen, 16,867 of them, could call this election.
I doubt we're going to hear any candidate anytime soon giving a victory speech. I can say that.
You wanted a race, we give you a
race.
Doug Jones, if indeed, and that's the prediction now coming from the Associated Press, Doug Jones being declared the winner, that would mean that Alabama is sending a Democrat to the U.S. Senate for the first time in, what, about 25 years. We were hearing there is, again, what we have been talking up here tonight, that urban vote was extremely important, getting out African-American vote, getting out young people to vote, and that has happened today. Let's go to Cynthia Gould, who is standing by at the Jefferson County Courthouse. Doug Jones and his crew right there celebrating. Doug Jones has not come into the room yet. We know that's going to happen soon. It is 9:43. Doug Jones has probably learned one thing about this, and that's to hold it till 10 o'clock. Right? So he most likely will come out and give a speech, if he's going to tonight, his victory speech at 10 o'clock. And of course, we're going to stay right here with it.